Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Virche Epic Lycoris. Where you think you're going? Yeah, that's right. You're not allowed on that pillow. You don't trust you. I'm talking to the bird. I'm sorry. Anyway, continuing Lucas's encore. We haven't had a choice in a while, so don't you dare. That's not for you. You no step on that pillow. That's a good, nice pillowcase. That's a nice pillowcase, and I don't trust you. I don't trust you not to poopies on it. You jerk. Even though you just had a break. You just had. Oh, yeah, I know. I know. You simmer down. You're getting fidgety. You get fidgety lately. You know what? You're getting crotchety and fidgety in your old age. You like jumping on my table, like making a mess. Well, you always make a mess, but he started just like, I'll be sitting there and he's just on my table running all around, and then he's like trying to jump up on my drink and knocking shit over. And it's like, when the fuck what is happening to you? He never used to do this shit. Today he jumped up on the table. He found a crumb on the floor. Not surprising, because like he's a fucking pig. He flies around I'll find bird food, and I'm like, what the fuck is this doing here? Because he'll fly around the house and he just drops it wherever. But like, so he had like something, and he's like sitting on my table, just sitting there eating and getting crumbs everywhere. And I'm like, fucking of course. Like, whatever. You got crumbs everywhere. And now you're like feisty and you're climbing all over. Like, I mean, that's a good thing. You're active, but you should be active when we're downstairs. This is nap time. This is chill out time. I could throw you downstairs where your toys are if you don't want to sit here. But you'll be like, no, you'll just be screaming downstairs. So like, he's like, I gotta find something to keep me occupied. And it's like, if I brought a toy up here for you to play with, you wouldn't play with it. Do you want me to get your jingle bells? You want me to get your little cat bells? They're like, little cat toys. Like the balls with the bells in it. He fucking loves those. You want me to throw them on the floor? Then you can run around and chase him on the floor. I'm sitting right here and I'll be able to see you. And then everyone will hear you shrieking and hear bells dingling in the background. Don't you bite the microphone? Anyway. We're in Lucas's perspective. I was accustomed to pain. I had suffered through my father's strict teachings ever since I was young, as well as the day I killed him under God's command. I lowered my halberd down onto them as they were covered in wounds. On that day I declared to them that they wouldn't kill off Nadia's will. But I may have been mistaken in doing so. No, my head, that's not for you either. Just as my beloved sister, the version of her deep in my memories of the past, told me. I should have let her tell them directly. I don't want to listen to you. Maybe then something might be different now. Ugh. I was used to the pain, but that small numbing sensation that ran through my neck, I hated that. Up until now I had never felt like I'd been shot with a needle. Surrounding me and holding me down were clones that looked just like me. Ow! And in their midst was... Damn it! I didn't think Cyan Brophies would have been the one to sniff me out. How far must that man go to get in my way? In his rage, the minister threw the now empty syringe to the ground. Yeah, and see, that's the sad part, is like, okay, yeah, now he's getting drugged. From the tiny hole in my neck poured an immense amount of heat into my body. It was hot. Hot, hot, hot. My mind was burned by a scorching heat, making me slowly lose any idea of who I was. If that's the case, I'll have to kill Cyan Brophies and all the researchers under him, and take on the authority he had. He then came to me, whispering into my ear as I held my neck, curled into a ball in the tunnel. Lucas, my wonderful spear, Lucas Proust. Under the command of God, now's the time you must exterminate the leader of the demons. I know it must be painful with your life almost at its end, but you'll do it, yes? The voice of God's prophet spoke to me. The command this voice speaks of must be fulfilled. I must devote myself to following God's orders and purifying the demons. And he will surely save Nadia with his divine powers. Will he, though? As her brother, could I truly face this girl who only wanted to be a normal person? If I were to continue hanging on to this miracle. Instead of trying to let Nadia live by forcing others to be sacrifices, won't you consider finding a normal way she can live? Would I be betraying that girl who still saw the possibility of Lucas Proust being human? I... Say it. Say it. She said it was all right to. Say you don't want to do this before you lose yourself. Hurry! Oh, that response didn't sound committed. Could it be that the brainwashing is wearing off? I'm sure I've been administering the drug to him daily. Did something happen during his time with that maiden of death? In that case... From his pocket, the minister pulled out several more syringes. The moment I saw them, a familiar fear awoke from the depths of my mind in an instant. Wait! No. If I was injected, I'd be controlled by the feverish haze of blind faith to him. See, he should have known. He should have been like, and lied. I wouldn't even be able to remember what Spacey told me. I tried desperately to fight back, but my false clones pushed my body back down. I'm at the center of this country, and I will carry on the research to bring about a new species of human. Now, go kill those who stand in my way, Lucas Proust, the murderer. Stop! With the intense heat running through my neck, an artificially created urge to kill surpassed my love. I pleaded desperately within my fading mind. Spacey, 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 Spacey. If a murderer such as I could still be allowed to hold on to hope, and then even if it meant sacrificing anything, your smile and what you said to me, I refused to forget. Even if I lost my sanity and my transformation into a monster became complete. I feel like that should be extenuating circumstances. Like, yeah, he murdered people, but he was kind of brainwashed. So, like, is that really fair? I mean, sure, you can't get off totally, but, like, that night, Adolphe came to see me at the orphanage where I pleaded for him to let me help as part of the medical team in the investigation. He opposed the idea at first, of course. Adolphe, I'm just as worried as you are. But she's speaking up about what she wants when she rarely ever does. I'm sure there's some reason to her doing so. As her brother, won't you respect your sister's wishes? Mother, to whom we explained what was happening, helped my efforts in convincing him. You'd better not be on the front lines. And that's even if we and Lucas get involved in a deadly fight. Yeah, I promise. I nodded firmly at his unyielding demand. There just wasn't any time. We had to strike before we were struck ourselves, or many more lives would be lost. I hurried to get my belongings ready and headed to the hospital with Adolphe, medical kit in hand. The hospital was surrounded in eerie silence. Everyone there nodded to each other. Let's go. Secure every single person who normally belongs here. Even Hugo kicked down the locked door. The members of the Corps rushed in, and the quiet hospital was suddenly in chaos. Don't move! Everyone on your knees and keep your hands behind your head! Oh, who are you people? We got some business here. Don't worry, just do what we say and you won't get hurt. As everyone knelt down, one after another. It's all right. It'll be all right, so please don't worry. You're all uninvolved with what's happening here. Really? I went around to calm down the patients who came out into the hallway to see what was going on. Some must be heavily afflicted by the curse. The slightest shock could be life-threatening. Cyan quickly walked forward through the middle of all the chaos. All right, there must be an entrance to the underground somewhere. Garoon, cover me. Maiden of Death, you come as our guide. Right. Hold it. Dolphy and the others will catch up to us once they've secured the hospital. I chased after Cyan with Eve and guided them as I desperately tried to remember when I was captured and brought here. Staying vigilant as we went down some steps, I saw the same horrific sight, unchanged from before. Ugh. Perhaps they believed they would be attacked. I saw traces of a rushed escape. Some corpses and scattered bodies were left as they were, along with some experimentation tools. I felt sick as the room also gave off a putrid odor. This is quite a place. I expected as much. In fact, it has a juvenile quality befitting someone playing with dolls. His expression undaunted, Cyan looked around the room. After looking around for a moment, he stood next to a weak light source. He then knocked on it without hesitation. Wondering what he was doing, even I looked on with puzzled gazes when... Suddenly, a rectangular outline appeared. I'm sorry, I got to move my hand a little bit. Can you come back up here? Thank you. I'm sorry, my hand was just stretched out too far. I have my hand kind of stretched out and the bird's like leaning against... I'm literally just sitting there with my hand, like all my fingers stacked, just sitting there. And he's just, like my pinky on my thigh and then my index finger in the air. You know what I mean? Like that. And he's just leaning against it like he's leaning against a wall. But it was stretched out so far, I was like, it's getting uncomfortable to hold my hand there. So I'm like, I needed to move it. So I moved my hand just a little bit and he just scoot, 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 just squish himself against it again. He's so silly. It's getting dark in here. I know. Because it's 4:40 right now. And we started this at 4:30 and I was like, it's bright. And then literally 2 minutes later, I'm like, it's dark now. Holy shit. It's getting very dark all of a sudden. It's like in my brain, I knew it's going to take us an hour to play this. It'll be dark when we're done. But I wasn't really thinking 2 seconds after I was like, hey guys, it's dark. Okay. What the fuck? Anyway. There's a hidden pathway here too? How'd you know, Cyan? The royal family uses hidden doors like this all the time. I thought there was something suspicious with the royal guard as well, and it seems they're part of this too. Does that mean the royal family's been helping with Capucine's horrible experiments? Right. I'm sure they found his experiments appealing to them. As Cyan spoke in an annoyed tone, he kicked at the crack in the wall, forcing a new entrance open. Well, also, Cyan does not kowtow to them. You know what I mean? I know. I was trying to move my hand. I only have my left hand to use right now, so I was trying to adjust my controller in my hand. You know what I mean? He doesn't do what they want. He basically, they're at his whim. So, of course, they'd be like... I mean, we know it's done, but also, I think we kind of knew the royal family had a little bit going behind Capucine, too, because isn't that what didn't Simon go to Capucine in that one route? Was that in Science route? Or whatever. Because Cyan was like, nope, not letting you be a reliever anymore, bitch. So, of course, they'd have some back alley dealings because Cyan won't do what they say, so Capucine will. Anyway, beyond the door was a dark passage with no end in sight. Cyan walked through the passage ahead of us, and soon we ended up in front of an old door. Without hesitation, Cyan put his hand against the door, and we stepped into the depths of the Society's headquarters. Oh, yep, here we go, the creepy room where we kept Nadia last time. Oh, yeah. And the cages and the dolls everywhere, and it's just creepy as fuck. Light shone into our vision. Inside the well-kept room were a number of medicines organized into multiple cabinets. My eyes caught sight of the pale dolls that could be found everywhere I looked. They stared at us in silence. These dolls, are they... Genetic dolls, for his own personal collection. I assume the girl Nadia as well. When you say genetic dolls for his own... That is... You say that and genetic dolls for his own personal collection doesn't... there's something off about that. You're like, what do you mean by genetic dolls? But knowing Capucine, you're like, there is so much more wrapped up in that simple and... Please don't tell me I don't want to know. It's going to be so much worse than anything I'm imagining. And we played the route the first time. I suspect he plans to make a doll of her to add to his collection. And that's even more disgusting, because you're like, God, what are... This collection is not like I collect hearts of my victims or I collect teeth or something. Like, you're making genetic dolls for your collection. It just sounds really dirty and inappropriate. Though he may be her brother, in what world would a doctor leave a dangerous killer with their precious patient? Or rather, in what world would a husband allow such a murderer around his bride? No, was that what he meant back then? Imagining Nadia being turned into a doll like this sent a chill through my body. Then we need to get Nadia as soon as we can. Well, it feels like there's no one here in this room. At the far end of the room, there are stairs leading down. I find these hidden hospital passages underground to be rather crude. Let's go. Adolphe's gonna be pissed because he said no frontline shit, and we are like over the line. Well, we're not at the front line, Adolphe. I crossed it. After waiting for everyone else to catch up to us, we continued down the stairs. The sound of dripping water reached my ears. When we say everyone, we got Hugo and Adolphe now? At the foot of the stairs, we found ourselves in a narrow passage with strange colored water flowing at our feet. Oh, okay, yeah, so Hugo and Adolphe are now here. I never knew this was below the hospital. His equipment. It was discarded from the Institute. They shouldn't be able to function on their own. Hold on. An itch in my ear that was under my headset. Well, obviously, both of my ears are under my headset, but I'm at the one on the microphone side. When I can only have my left hand, because the bird's on my right hand, so. The idiots who made these tunnels must have taken all this. The click of Cyan's tongue could be heard around the room. If they weren't in the hospital or any of these labs, it's highly possible they're hiding in these tunnels. Everyone else in the Corps have had their hands full ensuring everyone from the hospital's safe. Let's split up and look for them. Right. I can totally see us all getting lost if we stick together in a huge group. We should also split ourselves up between finding Nadia and finding Lucas. I'll head to the center of these tunnels to investigate the overall layout of this place. I'm far more interested in the one who built this massive tunnel network without telling me than I am an Ordi. There he goes, acting on his own again. Well, that's fine enough. If he does get an idea of how this place is laid out, he can guide us over the transmitters. We agreed with Hugo and split ourselves into groups. In the event of an emergency, Adolphe would need to go back above ground to lead the Corps. So it was decided he and Hugo would investigate areas close to the tunnel entrances, making me and Eve the only ones left to work in our own group. Well, yeah, because you can't leave me go alone. Listen, you'd better not push yourself, okay? I didn't bring you along to fight. If anything happens, get out of the tunnels with Eve. Right, I promise. But if I'm not even able to escape, I'll do anything else that I can. You're like, don't worry! Whips it out. I got a gun, motherfuckers! And they're like, a what? You're like, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Don't worry your pretty little head, Adolphe. When he said the word fight, I couldn't help but remember the weapon inside my pocket. Oh, see? If something happens, I just have to pull the trigger without hesitating. That was easier said than done. Was I really prepared to do that? All right, let's go. Be careful not to get lost. Right. See, and new boyfriends were out there letting us be with old boyfriend. I received a transmitter as well, just in case, and I proceeded cautiously through the dark tunnel with Eve.
This place is pretty big. I wonder if these tunnels spread throughout Arpachel.
I wonder what they're here for. I don't think Capucine has the authority to do something like this. And Cyan did say he was interested more in someone else than he was in Orty. In other words, there must be someone else who made these tunnels.
I'm sure Cyan will be looking into that. But it's a bit creepy not knowing anything about who we're dealing with.
I agree. It was all too quiet considering someone made these tunnels. I heard nothing apart from our limited conversation and the sound of the water as we walked through it. Or so I thought. Even I looked up at the walls in response to a noise clearly different from the water. It seemed like the noise just now came from one of the machines embedded into the walls. It's just the ice maker, guys. Don't worry about it.
What was that? It's not likely that Cyan's already taken over the machines in this place, right?
In response to Eve's question, come this way. Come this way. A mechanical voice answered.
Who's that?
Eve looked around us, but there was no sign of anyone about to attack us, nor of any splashing water. You think it's Dahut? Like, because these are his tunnels. He knows about these. I would bet that he's the one that built them. Well, to be fair, how the fuck did you build tunnels under a fucking city without anyone noticing you were blasting under there? I just don't... You know what I mean? That just seems odd. But anyway, regardless of how... Because I'm just saying, don't you think you'd have to create... Okay, even if you started the tunnel under the hospital, okay? Because you know what you're doing. It's going to go underneath. We know it goes underneath everything, and we know it goes underneath the Research Institute. How the fuck did you get a tunnel under the Research Institute and then build a trap door even to get into the tunnels somehow without anyone noticing? You know what I mean? I just feel like someone's going to notice. So, like, that's questionable. But anyway. But Dahut would know about these tunnels whether he built them or not. And he doesn't want Capucine to use Nadia. So I could see him trying to hide himself, but then, accessing whatever machinery's in the tunnel and trying to lead us to where Nadia is. You know what I mean? As if undeterred by his alert stance...
Follow the sound of my voice. I will guide you to where your precious treasure is.
The voice from the wall began to fade away. It beckoned us to come to it. It's supposed to be a robotic voice, or a mechanical voice, so it's robot voice now.
That might be a trap.
It might be Dahut leading us to Nadia. Still, we have nothing else to tell us which way to go through these tunnels. Even if Cyan figures out how this place is laid out, we still won't know where Nadia is being hidden.
So, without any other clues, we'll have to play along, huh? Are you ready, Spacey?
Yeah, I've been ready since we entered the hospital. Eve smiled back at me as if applauding me for my firm reply, helping me relax. We chased after the eerie voice, wading through the water.
This way. If you lose me, you'll never be able to leave this maze.
It was as if the voice was that of an innocent child playing tag. While it seemed it was simply leading us in circles, we were certainly moving deeper and deeper into the tunnels. We were unable to tell if it was a friend or foe, or even its gender. But despite it all, we continued to follow it until...
The way the air moves in this room is different from the rest.
Eve stopped the moment he stepped in front of a door. I stood in front of it too, and sure enough I could feel the sensation of fresh air coming through the cracks. Why only from here?
Maybe it's a place where people enter frequently, which means it needs to be ventilated regularly.
In that case...
It's possible there's someone in here.
Eve put his hand on the door, which barely moved. It appeared to be locked.
I guess it can't be helped. I'll break it down and... That won't be necessary.
the sound of the voice, I heard the door unlock.
You should be able to enter now. This is all I can do to help. From this point onward, I leave things to you.
Who are you? If you can control the locks here, you must be someone who was involved in creating this place. If that's the case, you aren't a friend of ours. Then why?
Heh. I don't need a pawn who boasts about doing as he pleases while merely manipulating the strongest spear there is.
Yeah, it's absolutely Dahut. He must be talking about Capucine. But if he was calling him a pawn, did that mean this person was our enemy? Okay, so I didn't know we were going to get a choice. All right. I say we trust the voice because I think it's Dahut. And I would trust Dahut over Capucine 100%. Especially, like, I was sus it was Dahut to begin with. I feel like it was fairly obvious. But then that last, like, I don't need a pawn that does what he wants. It's absolutely something Dahut would say about Capucine, so. Oh. Sorry, Bird, I need to borrow my hand so I can make a save. Okay, save file. All right, which is good because we haven't had a save or we haven't had other choices, anything in a while. So it's like, yep, okay. So we're going to save there. Boop. And then we trust Dahut. It says trust the voice, but I'm sure it's Dahut, so. We wouldn't be able to make any progress at all if we didn't trust this voice, even if we knew we might be exposed to danger. We wouldn't even be able to confront Lucas, much less save Nadia. Come here. Come here. Come here. I had to move my hand. All right, you know what? Hold on a second. Come here.
It's only been like 26 minutes, but I need to turn on the light, and I'm going to give you a potty break, okay? Because you'll get fidgety.
Aha. So hold on. Sorry, guys. I gotta turn on a light somewhere because it's getting too fucking dark and I can barely see the damn bird.
There you go. The light's on. Did you need new brakes? I know it hasn't been quite that long time, but it's still been 30 minutes. Are you stretches? I know. You're so precious. I stretches to you back. I'm not actually stretching back to you, but you want me to stretch? I'll stretch. Ready? Everybody get a big stretch. Stretches. Oh, good boy. Thank you. Oh, but I'm too busy stretching.
Actually, that felt really fucking amazing on my back. Did y'all get your stretches in? All right, good. Let's do Atome yoga. We'll like get up and be like, all right, guys, everybody warrior pose for 5 minutes. You know what? I know some of you guys do like art and draw and paint and do whatever while you're watching this, or like, whatever, do your dishes, I'm sure. But like, you know what? One of y'all motherfuckers is out there doing yoga while you're watching this. Somebody's got to. Somebody's got to be doing Atome yoga. Just saying. Because that sounds like a great idea. So, good for you. My pillow just fell on my damn... Okay.
I know. Is that why you were looking at this pillow before?
It like fell on me. Chuya just jumped on my head. Sweetie, I'm going to need you to simmer down there, girlfriend. Anyway, okay. Which meant, I have no idea what we just read that meant, which meant, but anyway, Dahut, listening to Dahut. Even I nodded to each other. Because Dahut wants to save Nadia, so I trust him, absolutely. He slowly opened the door leading to the mysterious room, and as he stepped a foot inside...
Please take care of her. I have no right to see her anymore.
The last utterances of the voice had within it something that felt familiar. Yep, absolutely, Dahut. That was 100%, 150% confirmation. And this is Dahut's secret lab here, so... And there she was, sitting all alone in the wheelchair in the center of the dimly lit room. Nadia!
We're so glad you're safe.
Speezy? And me brother's friend? I rushed up to her and checked over her body. It's all right, Nadia. Has Capucine done anything to you?
I'm okay. I was carried here all of a sudden. He told me I'd undergo a special treatment tomorrow, so to be good and wait here. But his face looked a bit scary. I'm so glad you came to get me.
Her arms, legs, and the rest of her body. Everything seemed normal about Nadia as she spoke. There seemed to be nothing odd about her. Good. We made it in time. I embraced Nadia with relief, thinking back to the dolls in Capucine's office. However, Nadia's expression looked dim, The complete opposite of how she was the other day.
So, there was a letter left in this room that talked about my brother. It said he was Boro and that he killed a lot of people. What? Was for my sake, wasn't it?
I saw something fall from her. A small tear fell from Nadia's eyes now that she knew the truth. Oh.
I've always been dead, but to let me live as a normal person. Brother's been doing something everyone hated all this time. I don't know anything. I prayed to God I could just keep spending my days with my brother. It's all my fault. If I weren't around, my brother could have lived a normal life.
Nadia, I imagined it took much of her strength just to even cry. I embraced her as she continued, her cries catching in her throat on occasion. You did nothing wrong, Nadia. The one who's in the wrong is Capucine for exploiting Lucas's love for you and brainwashing him. But don't talk about never having existed. Lucas was able to live because you were there with him. That wasn't all. Because you were with him, he was able to feel the desire to protect something special to him. And that's what made Lucas Proust the Lucas we all love. After I finished... As Nadia burst into tears, I embraced her tightly.
I don't want to force my brother to work so hard anymore. Brothers work so hard to protect me. So now I want to be the one to help him.
I steadied my breathing and thought of a response. Right now, I needed to be a big sister to her. Right. He's always trying so hard, so let's go to him together, all right? I'm sure Lucas is sad right now, waiting for us.
Okay.
In Lucas's place, I promised to protect this girl's body and heart.
Let's hurry. We need to let Lucas know Nadia's safe as soon as possible.
Right. Because Eve kept his sword brandished, I carried Nadia as we continued through the tunnels. I'm sorry, Nadia. It'll be shaky for a bit, but hang in there.
Yeah, I'll be okay.
Digging through our memories, we went through the tunnels we came through. Once we turned right at the next fork, we would be back to the spot where we split up from the others. From beyond the corner, I could hear the loud ringing of metal clashing against metal. In a panic, I rushed around the corner to see... The sight of Adolphe and Hugo fighting two Boros with all their strength.
Brother! 2 of them?
Could those be Lucas's clones that were mentioned before? And the fact that either of them were extraordinarily powerful meant...
They're no different people. They must be relivers of Lucas himself. Spacey, stay back with Nadia.
With his sword brandished, Eve raced forward to help the others. One of the Boros reacted instantly to his new threat and made a broad sweep at Eve's torso. Eve dodged it at the very last moment. However, behind him was the other Boro. Eve! Get back!
We don't stand a chance against even one of them. And any more than that's just unfair, don't you think?
He forced his body to pull away and jumped into the air from his awkward position. A halberd cut through the air, barely missing a chance to slash through the flesh of his back. Eve landed, and while still unable to regain his balance, the two Boros attacked him from the front and behind. I don't know how to do... No, you don't! That's right. Multiple people saying a word together against Valley Girl. Adolphe and Hugo. Adolphe. No! And Hugo. You know you don't! And it's, no you don't! And actually, that didn't even sound like Hugo for a hot second there. But anyway. You're not hurting our friend, god damn it! Hugo's boyfriend? Ready for their very bones to rattle in their bodies, Adolphe and Hugo desperately swang back at them. See, this is what Tim's good at, this shit. That's all he should be allowed to do. And it should have directed whoever put the cage bars in front of Lucas's face that was a bad choice, but... And after a few more strikes of clashing swords, the bodies of the 3 men were stained red in less than a minute. Aww. Spacey, take Nadia and get above ground. Adolphe shouted as he stood back up after being knocked away. But, Adolphe! Just get away! If we're defeated, they're coming after you two next! And don't worry about us. I'm not planning to win this fight by becoming a sacrifice.
We'll hold out until Cyan gets back.
The fuck is Cyan gonna do? Aside from look pretty. I'm pretty sure he can't fight. They were being pushed back with each second that I hesitated. I remembered the weapon I had in my pocket, but I couldn't reliably hit a target in this chaotic melee. If now wasn't the time to use it, then... Please be safe! I never hated how little strength I had more than now. The distance to the exit was close, yet seemed so far. With my clothes weighed down after soaking up so much water, I could barely move my body. Speezy, are you all right? I'm fine. The others are risking their lives, so I can at least do this much. Gritting my teeth, I readjusted my hold on Nadia and pushed my legs forward. Just a little bit more, just a little further, and we'd be able to get back to the hospital where members of the Corps were standing by. At least that's what I hoped would happen. That sounds like that ain't gonna happen. I could hear someone approaching from the other end of the tunnel. I imagined it wasn't Cyan or anyone from the Corps. If it were, I wouldn't be smelling the stench of blood in the air. At this rate, we'll run right into them. Nadia, stay here and don't move. Don't leave, no matter what. I instinctively pushed Nadia into the shadows of a massive piece of equipment. Okay, but what are you going to do, Speezy? Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's anywhere I can hide. I'll distract them so they won't find you. No, you can't! If you do that, You'll be all right. I have a special weapon I received from the extraordinary Watchman of Death. I'll be able to protect myself with it if something happens, so don't worry. But... Ignoring her pleas, I backed away from the equipment she was hidden behind. But not even a few seconds later, the real Lucas. A person appeared who looked exactly like the men attacking Adolphe and the others. A third one. I think it might be the real one. Just how far were Lucas's genes being abused? I wanted to curse Capucine to death, but unfortunately he wasn't present. No, we're gonna hang him up by a pretty little flower noose and stone him for a little... We're gonna do a lot of shit to him. We're gonna torture him. We're gonna hang him up, and when he's inches from death, when he's suffocating and struggling, we're not gonna do the kind of noose that snaps his neck fast. We're gonna let him hang and suffer and twitch a little bit, and then when he looks like he's about to expire, we'll cut him down, and he'll think we've, forgiven him, and then maybe we'll stone him a little bit, and... slice him up and then maybe light him on fire. We're going to torture him a lot. We got a lot of torture planned for him, okay? It's better than he deserves, to be fair. Curse him to death. Oh, hell no. We're going to torture him to death, girl. Bad choice of words. Lisporto shifted his gaze onto me, who had no particular abilities to defend myself, and closed the gap between us in an instant. I'm wondering if this is real Lucas or a clone. I feel like real Lucas wouldn't have a hood on, but then again, who knows? Out of pure instinct, I chose to fall backward. I don't know, but, it worked. As a result, the halberd swung through the space where my arm had just occupied. With the chance I was given, I moved to take out the weapon from my pocket and dropped it. But before I could move my arm, Boro had already readied his halberd again. He's fast. It was a mistake to even think I could fight him back. Wow. The Boro swung his halberd up high. I imagined he'd cut me down from the top of my head. I couldn't dodge it. While praying that at the very least Nadia wasn't watching. Oh, now maybe real Lucas is going to come in. I readied myself for my approaching death and closed my eyes. There was no pain, and I was still conscious. Why? What happened? This man in front of me would be able to sever both my life and my consciousness from me in an instant. I slowly opened my eyes to discover... Okay, it might be the real Lucas then. What came to my eyes was the sight of Boro holding his mouth and the smell of iron. From under his cloak, blood poured out of his mouth, mixing into the water from the tunnels in a complex arrangement of color. I knew immediately that it was a sign that the curse that consumed this country had arrived. But it was strange. Each Boro was a reliver clone of Lucas. Even if they were created when he started operating as an assassin, it was far too early for their lives to be over. Then why is this Boro suffering and spitting up blood? No. Lucas? Was this not a clone, but the real one? Yep. Just as I call his name, Lucas collapsed to the ground, spitting up blood. Lucas! I tore off his cloak and wiped away at his mouth with it. But it just wouldn't stop. The blood flowing from him disappeared into the canal along with his remaining life. But ignoring the blood he was coughing up, I have to kill them, all who mock the minister, or else someone else important to me will be taken. They'll be killed. It seemed almost as if he was suffering under his need to kill. Lucas? He was clearly not in a stable state of mind. On top of that, as he sat there on the ground, I noticed needle marks on his skin. No.
The order from God, right? I didn't think someone as prudent as him would rely on something so ambiguous.
So they didn't know up until this point he'd been brainwashed. Is he being brainwashed? I'm going to go with no then. Okay. I know at some point we figured it out, but again, I don't remember, exactly where in this path, and then if we found out before we started this new encore, obviously after, so. Lucas, do you remember me? I shook Lucas's shoulders and desperately called out to him. But his eyes were clouded over completely. But if I do, that would hurt Spacey. It'd make her so sad. What am I supposed to do? Lucas! Nadia and I are both here. You don't have to try so hard alone anymore. There are so many people who want to help you. So please, don't force yourself to be strong. Be honest if you don't want something. Let yourself cry and throw it all away. My voice failed to reach him. Spacey, I want to see you. You and Nadia. I want to live with you again in those peaceful days. My voice failed to reach him despite how close I was. We haven't gotten, any fucking CGs to be... I mean, we got the baby Lucas CG, but we have not gotten any CGs in this, and, I feel like we had a couple in everyone else's route. So, are we just going to kiss him to bring him back to us? Because I feel like now would be a good time to force kiss him. Force kissing someone is never a good idea, but it's an Otome game and it's totally acceptable. He loves us, we love him, and we gotta snap him out of it, so now's the time. Why? Why must he have his humanity stolen from him just because he was strong? Tears fell for me in my frustration. I moved toward Lucas, who simply kept repeating over and over he had to kill people he didn't want to. Hold him. Take his hand and hold him. Hold him. Taking his hand doesn't seem strong enough. We need to hold him. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, okay. Look at that. Okay, there's obviously 3 bat... No, don't do that. I only have one hand again. This time I have my right hand. The bird's in my left. And so we hold him. Damn. I mean, come on. Story of slaughter. Okay, so this is an end. All right. Is it supposed to be the end? I'm going to cheat a little. Yeah, okay. At the end of Atonement. Okay, that's the title of the end. Not Story of Slaughter. I don't know if that is, Oh, okay. So then there is Taking His Hand is just a different ending, but it's not necessarily a bad one. Okay, not that these are good. You know what I mean? Like, because to be fair, at this point, it's not like we're going to live happily ever after. He's dying, so, like, whatever. And it's Lucas, and they hate Lucas, but whatever. Lucas! I embraced Lucas's body as if trying to save him from his pain, and I don't think we're going to get in this part. We'll probably get the next one. Please, come back to me. Nadia and I are here for you. You don't have to commit any more sins, Lucas. However, his breathing grew even more erratic. Just as he let out a roar, more intense than those before. Okay, that was not a roar, or intense, but that's okay.
Garoon and the rest of you, I hope you're all alive. I've succeeded in getting information about the tunnels as well as those who helped the ones involved in making them. I'm sending you visual data found from the terminals installed throughout the tunnels. Look them over as you deem necessary.
Lucas stopped in response to the voice that came from my chest.
Cyan Brophis. The root of all evil. The demon I must kill.
Well, that seems like a, Okay, at the end of Atonement. Might just be... Are we gonna die because he thinks we're Cyan now? Well, this might be bad. Step by step, I thought we were trying to get a better ending. Well, we're getting an alternate one, but I figured it would be slightly positive. Lucas came closer to me, driven on by his fabricated bloodthirst. Lucas! Damn it, Cyan! You should know when to keep your mouth shut! I backed away in response when my back stopped against a machine, blocking any path for my escape. At the very least, please let Nadia be safe. I forced my fear back down into me, knowing I had to keep her hidden. I seemed to have activated the machine, perhaps because I had backed into it. Oh, interesting. Right in front of our eyes, a projection of the horrible facility was shown to us. Is this Capucine's laboratory? Lucas stopped the moment he saw it. I could see the machines that created the genetic dolls through the sacrifices of so many people. Along with the horrifying dolls that shared some similar features with humans. The images continued to show the aftermath of the Core and Institute researchers working together in their investigation, showing a mountain of body parts from the corpses of children. In response to the horrifying sight, Lucas's eyes gave a glint of his returning sanity. Oh, good. Okay. Cyan isn't going to get us killed. Now we're Lucas. Okay.
Kill. Kill. The shapeless god continued to whisper its chant into my ears. The word of God was absolute. Failed to execute his command and I would lose what was most dear to me. Really, the command that I thought was only natural to obey.
Capucine's laboratory?
Suddenly escaped my mind at the horrific sight before me. I could see now. I was mistaken all along. The one that needed to be killed wasn't the false god. The one I had to kill was Capucine.
Oh, yeah. And then Lucas disappeared and Capucine's body parts were found all over our show. Sorry, bird, I had to adjust.
I'm very sorry.
Lucas's movements completely stopped. Nadia! My reasoning won against my emotions, and using that moment, I decided to prioritize getting Nadia to safety. It was too dangerous to leave her near Lucas as he was now. However, I could hear the sound of new footsteps coming from behind us. One of the Lucas clones! They must have shaken off the others and came after us, or they're dead. Even though it was a reliver of Lucas's, it showed not even the slightest bit of mercy in its gaze toward us. And it had its halberd pointed right at me. I attempted to ready the weapon Anko gave me, but it was so fast that I couldn't ready my aim on it. Wait till it's right on top of you, then shoot it in the chest. The massive silver blade closed in, about to cut through my torso. But it didn't know the real murderer behind us. Didn't know of, sorry. The blade cut through. Not my torso, but the clone's. The body, now split in two, fell into the water. Overwhelming the normal color of the water in the tunnel, it turned the river at my feet bright red. Lucas, who had thrown his halberd, began muttering something while I stood frozen in surprise. I have to kill them, even if I become a simple murderer. I have to. He suddenly jumped up and ran off deeper into the tunnels. Lucas? Brother? I hurried to pick up Nadia and chase after him, but I wasn't able to keep up with his speed. And as I rushed back the way we came, following the sounds of the water... Spacey, are you all right? Where are you? Adolphe! Unable to use my hands, I asked Nadia to operate the transmitter. We're all right, but I don't know where Lucas went off to.
Lucas popped out of nowhere just now.
Did you fight him? Was anyone injured?
No, in fact, Lucas didn't lay a hand on us. He only killed his clones and suddenly disappeared somewhere.
Huh?
My brother didn't fight Adolphe and the others?
That was a relief. Then where did Lucas go? I was sure the others were thinking the same thing. The silence from our confusion continued, and we could hear only the sound of the medicinal water flowing through the canals.
In any case, let's regroup for now. I'm sure Cyan's about done investigating what's at the center of this place.
All right, should we go back to where we first split up? The others would have no idea which paths we took to bring us here. In order to regroup with everyone, we'd have to retrace our steps.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee that there aren't any more clones out there. Be careful.
Yeah, you too. I asked Nadia to turn off the transmitter and readjusted my hold on her. Nadia, let's hurry up and join with the others. We need to get you somewhere safe.
But I'm more worried about where my brother went off to.
I feel the same way. But if anything were to happen to you, Lucas would never be able to come back to himself. So we'll go search for him in your place, okay? Nadia's face twisted in pain in reaction at my request.
All right. I'll be praying for you both to come back safely. So, promise you'll come back with my brother, okay?
I'll do everything I can. Good for us not being like, absolutely. We're like, I'll do my best. I felt so pathetic not being able to fully commit to her promise. No, it's better. But I just couldn't irresponsibly give Nadia false hope while not knowing what Lucas's current state was. Lucas, where have you gone, leaving your precious family behind? To kill Capucine. Woo, woo! Yeah, gonna watch Capucine suffer a violent death. I'd find that answer right after regrouping with Adolphe and the others. Under Cyan's directions, who remained at the center of the tunnels, we started back up toward the surface through a nearby exit. And found a laboratory stained in fresh blood. Okay. Well, not what I expected, because we're at the, we're at the Research Institute. So is he going to kill all the... I figured he realized it was Cyan, but maybe he's like, nope, gonna kill all the relivers still. Okay. As I stood taken aback, I instantly moved to block Nadia's view so she wouldn't see what was around her. As I did, Eve approached one of the corpses on the floor.
That doesn't seem like they're researchers from here. What are signs of a fight? Let's say he's a member of the Society of Exorcists who came to try and take over the lab.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Because I was like, you're going after Capucine, but if Capucine got all his peeps to come take, then Lucas has snapped and is going to kill anybody who's protecting Capucine. Cool. All right, fine. We're fine with this. A blade cut through his throat. Actually, it's more like it was just forced through him. And there's only one person who could have done this. Considering the clones were now defeated, it was only possible for Lucas himself to have caused this. That was what Adolphe was trying to tacitly convey. But why would Lucas attack the believers of the society when he's controlled by them? Ah! Hearing a scream, we all turned toward the direction it came from. From beyond the corner of the tunnel, out of view, we saw a spray of blood. Hugo, take Nadia somewhere safe. I got it. While I'm at it, I'll look for any survivors and lock ourselves up in a secure room. Spicy, you're gonna come with us, aren't you? Yeah, I fortunately have a weapon to protect myself. Even if we refuse, you're probably just gonna follow us in, right? Yeah, that's why I insisted on coming in the first place. Seeing my fearless smile, Adolphe sighed in defeat. Oh, but look at his precious smile at us. He's like, God damn. He's like, you little son of a bitch. All right, fine. But if things get bad, don't hesitate to just make a run for it and leave us behind. Thanks, Adolphe. God, he's so beautiful. I didn't explicitly agree to his request. Let's go, Eve. Got it. Leaving Nadia with Hugo, we rushed toward the spot where we saw the spray of blood. As expected, the tunnels near the center of the network gave us a shocking display. But strangely, none of them are researchers? No one was clad in the white lab coats that Cyan and Dahud had on. Those collapsed on the ground were all society members, just like the ones before. In other words, our enemies were now on the floor with signs that they were all killed in an instant. And then that's true because Capucine was like, well, I'm just going to have to go take over because Cyan's a douche canoe. So we were in the tunnels and he basically said that. So it makes sense that they'd be here trying to take over. Because Cyan's left his post. So what could have happened here? Who was Lucas trying to kill in his state of insanity? As we all stood there dumbfounded, Someone help me! The voice I suddenly heard was from someone I hated so much I wanted him dead. Oh, someone help me! The voice came from the deepest part of the laboratory. I hesitated at first, wondering if I should even approach the owner of the voice, whose life was clearly in peril. You know, good for her! I like her being like, I hate Capucine, but she's like, maybe I didn't hear that just now. And Adolphe and Eve are like, wait, what? And you're like, no, I'm just saying. That voice screaming for help was Capucine, and I'm thinking, what voice? I didn't hear a voice. Did you hear a voice? I think we should take a lunch break, guys. You guys want to go out for some, hot pot or something? What takes a long time to cook? We could, go to, the hottest restaurant in town where the line is, 2 hours long. Yeah, you think? Take our time? Stroll along? Tell each other some stories on the way? I don't know, just Everyone's there also debating, should we take our time? You know, there's a lot of blood on the floor, guys. We should walk very slowly and be very careful we don't slip and fall. But in order to understand the situation, we all faced each other and nodded in agreement as to what to do. Well, okay, never mind. They're like, should we take our time? They're like, yeah, but we won't know what's going on if we don't go. And they're like, that's true. So we should go and then just watch him get brutally slain, probably. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, sounds about, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, all right, sure. While readying the weapon Anko gave me to shoot at any instant. Let's go. Adolphe kicked apart the door that was already broken through, and we all jumped through. Lucas? The first thing I did was call out the name of my beloved. Oh, look at Capucine. Oh, we're almost at time. But I have a feeling I'm just going to stop here. We're basically at an hour, so good enough. And I'm going to assume we'll get our ending in the next part, I would hope, because it's very getting to the climax, so I just don't really feel how, okay, we're going to fight Lucas and then they're going to drag it on. And yet they do that all the time. So it'll be like, and then Lucas ran away, and then the next day, and then they'll go on, drag it on, even though this feels very much like it should be end-coded. Although, what is this, like the fourth part? So, yeah, I mean, didn't the other ones take like 5 to 6 hours? This would be like 5 hours, and then you'd get the bad endings, which would make it 6. So yeah, I feel like that's about right. So anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.